Hello, and welcome back to Koko Sleep, a podcast of original children's bedtime stories and meditations, designed to make bedtime a dream. This is such a heartwarming story, and it's inspired by listener Kenzie2341, who wrote in their review, "Hello, Koko Sleep. I have a story idea. You should write about a chameleon named CAMO. He loves hide and seek and is really good at it." They go on to explain the plot, but the name CAMO is brilliant. It gave Gillian so many ideas. And although this CAMO does love hide and seek, actually, what he realizes one day at a party is that he needs to feel comfortable in his own skin and stop hiding his natural colours by adapting to everyone else's. A special and familiar little ukulele-playing friend gives him some wonderful advice about how to feel fine in his own skin and let his true colours shine. Finally, CAMO discovers how magical it feels to be himself. I'm very excited to read you the story, but first, thank you to Kenzie2341 for inspiring us. So, snuggle down into your bed and get ready to meet Koko the Chameleon by Gillian Rogerson. Inspired by Kenzie2341. Koko was a young chameleon who lived with his family in Sleepy Forest. He loved changing the colour of his skin and would sometimes start the morning with just one colour, like pink or green. But throughout the day, he would add more and more colours, until he looked like an amazing multicoloured patchwork blanket. Koko loved trying new combinations of colours, and would sometimes include stripes, spots, and swirls. He could never decide which colour he liked best, so he often wore them all at once. His friends loved his bright colours, and said Koko was like a beautiful walking rainbow. One day, Koko and his parents were getting ready for a big picnic party in Sleepy Forest. The celebration was held every year, and Koko always enjoyed it. All his friends would be at the party, and there would be fun games to play and delicious food to eat. He'd been looking forward to it for a long time. Koko stood in front of the mirror in his bedroom and wondered what colour skin would be best for the party. Perhaps a joyful yellow with red and blue spots, or a cheerful stripy pattern of green, purple and pink. Perhaps a bright shimmering gold with silver sparkles. He tried the different looks and turned from side to side in front of the mirror to see how he looked. Patterns all looked perfect for a party, and he just couldn't decide which one to wear. His mum came into his room. She had turned herself into a soft shade of yellow, and her head, tail, and legs were a dark golden brown. Koko said she looked like a beautiful sunflower. He said, "I can't decide what to wear. Mum, what made you choose your party colours?" His mum said, "I thought about the party we're going to, and thinking about the fun time we'll have and the lovely friends we'll meet made my skin change all on its own. It's like my skin matched my happy thoughts. It often happens that way for me. Why don't you try it? Close your eyes and imagine the fun you're going to have at the picnic." Koko closed his little eyes. He thought about the picnic. Warmth and happiness flowed through him like a river of joy. He opened his eyes and looked in the mirror. His skin had turned all the colours of the rainbow, with a light covering of glimmering gold sparkles. He grinned at his reflection. Kamo's mum smiled at her son and said, "You look amazing. like a sparkling rainbow. Are you ready to go now?" Camo nodded. He couldn't stop smiling as he thought about the party. His dad was waiting at the door for them. His skin was golden brown with flecks of pale yellow. His colours perfectly matched Camo's mum. The chameleon family left their house and headed along the forest path. Camo skipped happily and hummed one of his favourite tunes. They walked under the shade of the trees and heard the birds singing sweetly from the treetops. The air was warm and scented with wildflowers and herbs. It was a wonderful day for a party. Camo continued skipping along, the sun's rays highlighting the golden sparkles on his skin. Very soon, the family heard the sound of happy chatter and laughter. They knew it was coming from the party area ahead. It seemed to be louder than in previous years. Camo looked up at his mum and asked how many animals would be at the party. She replied, "It sounds like absolutely everyone from Sleepy Forest is already there right now." Camo's skipping turned into slow steps. "Mum, how many animals live in Sleepy Forest?" She shrugged. "I'm not sure, but there are a lot." Camo walked a little slower, and his rainbow colours faded ever so slightly. His parents noticed immediately and asked what was troubling him. Camo looked at the path and said quietly, "I'm not sure. I suddenly feel shy. I won't know anyone at the party, and I don't know what to say to them. Do you think my colours are too bright? Should I change them? Will I stand out too much?" His dad scooped his son into his arms, tickled him under the chin, and said, "Don't even think about changing. You're perfect, just the way you are. Think about those new animals as friends you haven't met yet. When they see you, they'll think, 'Wow, look at that rainbow chameleon. He looks like a lot of fun. I must talk to him immediately.'" Camo giggled, and his colours turned bright once more. A few minutes later, the chameleons arrived at the party. Camo saw his friends on the bouncy castle and ran over to them. They cheered loudly when they saw him and told him to jump on. His friend, Koko the Koala, grinned at Camo and held his hand out to him. Koko said, "You'd better hold my hand, in case you accidentally change into the same colours as the bouncy castle. We don't want to bounce on you by mistake." Camo laughed and held hands with Koko as they bounced happily on the fun castle. Camo and his friends played some more on the castle and then went on the helter-skelter slide that circled a big tree. After that, they went on the swings and took turns pushing each other. Camo had a wonderful time, and he glowed brighter and brighter. When it was time for food, he skipped over to the picnic tables and sat down with his friends. The rest of the picnic guests sat down too. Camo continued to glow brightly, and his friends said his rainbow colours looked amazing in the sunlight. Camo nibbled on a cucumber sandwich. As he did so, he looked around at the other animals. Some of them were wearing party clothes, but he couldn't help noticing they weren't as bright as his rainbow skin. Was he too bright? Should he change into one or two colours instead to look like everyone else? He shifted in his seat a bit and looked down at the table. He didn't want to look different anymore. He wanted to look like everyone else. Camo's colours began to fade. Koko noticed the change in his friend and put down the cupcake he was eating. He asked Camo if he wasn't feeling well. Camo mumbled, "I'm too bright. I stand out too much." Koko smiled kindly at his friend. "I think you look amazing." Camo said quietly, "I don't feel amazing. Maybe I should try to look like everyone else instead of being so colourful." He gave Koko a small smile. "I don't know what's wrong with me. I've never felt like this before." Koko said, "There's nothing wrong with you. I think you're feeling a bit mixed up inside your head. I feel like that sometimes. I don't know why it happens, but it just does. And when it happens, I go for a walk through the forest and take my mind off my worries by looking at things." Camo frowned. "What sort of things?" "Oh, you know, the trees and the flowers, the rivers and the hills. I listen to the birds singing and the leaves in the trees rustling. There's something magical about Sleepy Forest, and when I have a long walk through it, I always feel better. Why don't you try it? You don't have to go far, and when you feel better, you could come back to the party. I'll still be here." Camo smiled at his friend. "I will try it. Thanks, Koko. I'll let my mum and dad know where I'm going." The little chameleon ran over to his parents and told them he was going for a walk and wouldn't be long. They offered to go with him, but he said he needed a little bit of time on his own. They nodded in understanding. Camo walked away from the party and further into the forest. His colours grew dimmer, and the mixed-up thoughts in his head swirled around and around. He stared at the path as he walked along. He remembered Koko's words and looked more closely at it. The path was made out of soft bark chippings, and each piece was a different size from the one next to it. Camo noticed something. The chippings were different shades of brown. Some were dark, like the fur of his bear friend Napoleon, and some were a paler shade, like the milky hot chocolate his dad made him at night time. Thinking about his friend Napoleon, and then his favourite drink, made Camo smile. His skin turned the same speckled brown as the path. Camo looked at the rose bushes at the side of the path. They were all different shades too. He slowed his steps and looked closer at them. He saw shades of burgundy and ruby, butter yellow and ivory, and a lovely orange colour that looked like the fur of his orangutan friend Oscar. He gently pushed his nose into the roses and inhaled the soothing scent. His speckled brown skin became dotted with the colours of the roses. Seeing his new skin made him chuckle. Camo carried on walking, a soft smile on his face. He looked at the canopy of leaves above him. Even though they were all green, when the sunlight shone through them, it made them turn a lighter shade, almost like magic. He stopped walking and tried to count the different shades of green that he could see amongst the leaves. He saw lime green, fern, olive, sage, and a shiny green that looked like apples in the forest orchard. His mum sometimes made pies with those apples. Thinking about those delicious pies made Camo lick his lips. Camo's skin absorbed the beautiful colours of the leaves. He looked at his skin and a wide smile settled on his mint green lips. He felt like he was part of Sleepy Forest. It was a comforting feeling. A colourful bird with long tail feathers flew down to him and landed on a rock. Her feathers were a captivating combination of emerald and bright red. She smiled at Camo and said, "Hi there. I love your colours." "Thank you," Camo said. "I love yours too. Would you mind if I copied them?" The bird was confused. "You can copy them? How? Are you magic?" "No, it's just something I can do. Watch." He changed his colours to match the bird's feathers. She was utterly astonished and asked what other colours he could change into. Camo showed her a variety of shades and ended with his favourite rainbow colours. The bird was too amazed to speak, so she gave him a feathery round of applause instead. The bird asked where he was going. Camo's thoughts returned to the picnic party and all the animals there. His colours grew dim. He looked at the ground and tried to explain about the party and how he didn't want to look different to everyone else. He wasn't sure he was making any sense, but when he looked back at the bird, he saw she was nodding in complete understanding. She said, "I'm different to a lot of birds, but when you think about it, we're all different anyway. No animal is exactly like another one, because we eat different things and we might laugh at different jokes. Even our voices are different." Camo sighed. "Oh, but I don't want to be different." The bird hopped closer to him. In a softer tone, she said, "Can I ask what you thought about me when you first saw me?" Camo smiled. "I thought you were beautiful. I love your red and green feathers. They make me feel happy inside." "I think you're beautiful too," the bird said to Camo. She grinned. "And a little bit magical. You must be to change how you look so easily." The little chameleon smiled some more. Perhaps he was a little bit magical. It was a lovely thought, and it made him glow. Perhaps he could be different in a small way. That felt good too. "Will you go back to the party?" the bird asked. "Not yet. I want to keep walking for a while longer," Camo replied. "It was lovely to meet you." The bird said it was lovely to meet him too, and hoped their paths would cross again someday. Camo waved goodbye and went on his way. He was still glowing with happiness. Soon he met a bright-coloured monkey who had a vibrant pink nose, bright blue cheeks, and tufts of green fur behind his ears. Upon meeting each other, the monkey and the chameleon said hello and admired the other one's colours. Just like the little bird, the monkey was amazed to see Camo copy his colours. The monkey chuckled and said, "We're just like twins. We should climb trees together and jump through the branches." When Camo said he didn't know how to jump through the branches, the monkey kindly offered to carry Camo on his back, and they could jump through the branches together. Camo had an amazing time leaping through the trees with his new friend. His colours glowed so brightly that some of the animals below thought he was a chameleon-shaped star from the night sky. After a while, the monkey returned Camo to the ground. They promised to meet again soon and said goodbye. Camo skipped along the path. His skin was still the same colour as the monkey's. He hadn't got far when he met a cloud of brightly coloured butterflies fluttering through the trees. The friendly butterflies said hello and admired his colours. Camo said he'd copied them from a kind monkey. He asked if he could copy their colours too. The butterflies were confused and asked what he meant by that. Camo proceeded to show them. He looked at the nearest butterfly. She had red wings that were edged in black and white dots. Camo changed his skin so that he matched the butterfly. The other butterflies were amazed and asked Camo to match them too. One by one, Camo changed his skin to look like the other butterflies. He switched from red to bright blue, from blue to emerald green, and from green to a shade of orange that looked like an early morning sunrise. The butterflies were in awe of Camo and his amazing abilities. They asked him to fly with them through the forest. When Camo said he couldn't fly, the butterflies gathered around him like a rainbow-coloured blanket and gently lifted him. Like a valuable package, they flew the little sunrise-coloured chameleon through the forest. The gentle wind flowed over Camo, and he glimmered and shimmered. He'd never flown before, and it was a wonderful experience. After a while, the butterflies returned Camo to the ground. They had been delighted to meet him and said they would love to meet him again one day. Camo smiled as he watched them fly away. He returned to his walk. His skin was still the colour of an orange sunrise. Camo met some brightly coloured frogs next. Like all the other animals he'd met on his walk, they were astounded at how easily he could change his skin colour, and they loved it when he turned a speckled blue, just like them. The frogs held hands with Camo and took him jumping across the lily pads of a pond. They even helped him swim through the water. Camo had never swum before, and being in the water was a new experience for him. He was so busy having fun that he didn't think about the party once. When it was time to say goodbye to the frogs, Camo promised to come back another time to play in the water again. He walked along the path, still the same colour as a speckled blue frog. He walked up Forget-Me-Not Hill. He stopped at the top and sat down on the soft grass. He could see the whole of Sleepy Forest in the valleys below. He thought about the picnic party and the fun everyone would be having. He wasn't sure if he felt ready to go back yet. Maybe a bit more time on his own would be good. He gazed softly at the green grass around him and the delicate blue forget-me-not flowers. His attention gently went to the tops of the trees ahead of him. He saw them swaying in the wind and heard the soft rustle of the leaves. Camo looked at the blue sky and the fluffy clouds that drifted by. Some of them looked like his friends and made him smile. He took some deep, relaxing breaths. He felt more and more peaceful with every breath he took. Something gold-coloured flew towards him. At first, he thought it was a butterfly, but as the animal got closer, he realised she was too big to be a butterfly. She wasn't a bird either. The golden-furred animal landed next to Camo and said hello to him. Camo blinked in surprise and said, "Hello. I hope this isn't a rude question, but are you a bat?" The animal nodded happily. "I am. And yes, I know what you're going to say next. I'm not the same colour as other bats, but I'm still a bat. I've flown all the way over from Bolivia. There are many golden bats there. I wanted to travel the world and have an adventure, so I set off flying, saw this lovely forest, and thought I'd take a closer look. My name is Butterscotch." Camo gave his name and said he'd never met a golden bat before, and he loved the warm, rich colour of her fur. It reminded him of the honey one of his friends had given him a few weeks ago. Butterscotch thanked him for his compliment. She looked at the forest and asked if it would be a good place for her to stay for a while. Before Camo could answer, the little bat sighed and looked at the ground. Her golden fur dimmed a little. She said, "I'm a bit worried about looking different from the bats who live here. Do you think I'll be okay?" Camo nodded. "I was feeling like that earlier. So I went on a long walk through the forest. I met some lovely animals who were all very happy to be different. It's good to be different. And if you think about it, we're all different anyway. Even that little blue forget-me-not flower next to you isn't the same as the blue flower next to me. I think that being different is normal. The animals in this forest are very friendly, and I know they would love to meet you." The little golden bat gave him a big smile. She said, "I love your speckled blue skin." Camo looked at his skin. He'd forgotten he was still blue. He said, "This is a colour I copied from someone else. Let me show you my true colours." Camo thought about all the wonderful things in his life, his family and friends, the friends he'd made that day, and the ones he was yet to make. He thought about the beauty of Sleepy Forest and how wonderful it was to walk through it and not think about anything very much at all. Camo's skin turned all the colours of the rainbow, and the glimmering gold sparkles which had been there earlier returned and shone more brightly than before. Butterscotch the bat let out a gasp of amazement. "Oh, your colours!" she said in a voice full of awe. "Your colours are amazing. If you don't mind me saying so, you should never copy anyone else, because you are incredible, just the way you are." Even though Camo didn't think it was possible, he shone even more brightly. An idea came to him. "Butterscotch, would you like to come to a picnic party with me? I'll introduce you to everyone. I don't know everyone yet, but I soon will." Butterscotch said she would love to. Camo, the rainbow-coloured chameleon, and Butterscotch, the golden bat from Bolivia, travelled through Sleepy Forest and to the picnic party. Everyone was overjoyed to see Camo and said they were so glad he had returned. Camo introduced Butterscotch, and the animals of Sleepy Forest soon made her feel at home. Some of them said they knew the perfect home where she could stay for as long as she wanted to, even forever, if she fell in love with Sleepy Forest as they had. Koko the Koala was sitting at a picnic table. He waved to Camo. Camo joined his friend at the table. Koko pushed a plate towards him. There was a huge slice of cake on it. Koko said he'd saved it for Camo. He asked how his walk through the forest had been. Camo told Koko about his journey and how it had ended on the top of Forget-Me-Not Hill. As he spoke, his rainbow colours got brighter and brighter. A thoughtful look came into Camo's eyes. He said, "I'm proud of myself for showing my true colours. I didn't feel like that earlier, but I do now." Koko put his arm around his dear friend and said, "I'm proud of you too, buddy." And just when Camo thought it wasn't at all possible to be any brighter, his colours glowed and glowed. His shining light lit up the forest and gently flowed over the animals. The animals stopped what they were doing and smiled fondly at the beautiful rainbow-coloured chameleon.